Hello fellow Silver Saints, I hope you're all doing well. My name is Ashley and this is the Library of a Silver Saint where we talk all things books. Hi, how are you? How are you doing today? I hope you are doing well. I have been really inspired by other booktubers, other content creators, and a lot recently have just been making some incredible videos. And the other day I came across a lovely video by a fellow booktuber, Rachel over at Ravenhead Reader, huge on romantasy. Her channel is amazing. I'm sure many of you have heard of her before. And I was watching one of her videos the other day. It was in this video, she basically asked all of her sort of friends and followers what their favourite books have been so far of 2025. And I thought, oh, I would quite like to have a go at that because it would be just really nice to see what everybody has been loving so far in 2025. And I thought this video could also then equally act as just a great recommendations video. And because lots of people that subscribe to this channel or follow me on Instagram have very similar taste, I thought it might be a great way to sort of get some other titles in these sort of genres to you as possible recommendations. So the other day I asked on Instagram what people's favourite books have been so far of 2025, and loads of people sent in some great answers. We had quite a few answers that were the same as well. And so I've compiled a list, and what I'm going to do today is I've got some of them here with me, and what we're going to do today is I'm not going to talk about my experience with the book. I am just going to use this as a space to recommend these from other people, and so I'm going to just read some summaries of them. So yeah, this is your favourite books of the year so far of 2025. Can you see Ernie? Shall I let him in? I'll go and let him in. Okay, he's decided to join, although I'm not sure it'll last very long. Okay, so I've got the list of all the books in front of me here, and I'm just going to go through them and just read out the summaries of them and hope that you get some great recommendations. So here we go. Okay, so the first book that was mentioned was called The Nightshade God, which I believe is part of a series. So I think it might be book 2 or 3 in the series. So I'm actually just going to read an overall summary. So I believe this is the 3rd book in the Nightshade Crown series by Hannah Witten. So it says, the Foxglove King follows Law, a young woman who can manipulate death magic, a forbidden power that ties her to the city of Delaire. When a run goes wrong, she is captured by the sainted king's forces and given an ultimatum: use her magic to find a traitor in the court or face the pyre. Thrust into the opulent royal court, Law navigates treacherous politics and a forbidden romance with the heir, all while evading the attention of a secretive monk named Gabriel. She must uncover the mystery behind the dying villages and the truth about the king's plans, all while the dangers of her past threaten to catch up with her. That sounds really great. I've heard so many things about this series. I know that this 3rd book has been really eagerly anticipated, so that sounds great. That sounds really good. Okay, the second book on the list, so someone else's favourite of 2025 was The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. Now, I have a copy of this, of course I do, because it's Lord Grimdark, so I can read the summary from the book. So, plague and famine stalk the land, monsters lurk in every shadow, and greedy princes care for nothing but their own ambitions. Sometimes only the darkest paths lead towards the light, paths on which the righteous will not dare to tread. And so, buried beneath the sacred splendour of the celestial palace is the secret chapel of the holy expediency. For its congregation of convicted monsters, there are no sins that have not been committed, no lines that will not be crossed, and no mission that cannot be turned into a disastrous bloodbath. Now the hapless brother Diaz must somehow bind the worst of the worst to a higher cause, to put a thief on the throne of Troy and to unite the sundered church against the coming apocalypse. I think many of the characters in this, like the protagonists are sort of monsters, and I think they're all isn't there like a werewolf and something? I think there's quite a few interesting characters going on, but this sounds incredible. Complete sort of new world that Joe has come up with, new characters, new story, completely different to First Law, so I'm really excited to give this a go, and I'm so glad that so many people are loving it so far. I know it's a bit divisive, or has been a bit divisive, or received in different ways, but I'm really excited to give this a go because I love Joe Abercrombie. Okay, the 3rd book on the list, and one that was mentioned quite a few times, is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, I can give a brief summary of this because I actually read this at the beginning of this month and utterly adored it, but I'm going to read it from the summary because I'm not going to do it justice. In the summer of 1980, astrophysics professor Joan Goodwin begins training to be an astronaut at Houston's Johnson Space Center, alongside an exceptional group of fellow candidates: Top Gun pilot Hank Redmond, mission specialist John Griffin and Lydia Danes, warm-hearted Donna Fitzgerald and Vanessa Ford, the magnetic and mysterious aeronautical engineer. As the new astronauts prepare for their first flights, Joan finds a passion and a love she never imagined and begins to question everything she believes about her place in the observable universe. Then in December of 1984, on mission STS-LR9, everything changes in an instant. This was heartbreaking. This is utterly heartbreaking. This is a love story, but in this incredible setting of sort of NASA and the sort of space program. And it's brilliant. Taylor is excellent at writing just the most wonderful characters, and she explores so many themes, but she writes really good love stories, and I'll never not recommend her books. I'm so glad so many people loved this year. It was great, and I utterly adored it. Another favourite this year, and it's no surprise to me because this is one of my favourites, is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. So this is a standalone fantasy novel, and it was absolutely incredible. I adored it. It was 5 stars. It's one of my favourite reads of the year so far also, so I'm joining in with this one. I have already read it, so I could give a little summary, but I'm not going to do a very good job at keeping it concise, so I'm going to read from the blurb. For 20 years, Siona has devoted every waking moment to the study of magic, fueled by a mad desire to achieve the impossible, to be the first woman ever admitted to the High Magistracy at the University of Magics and Industry. When Siona finally achieves her ambition and becomes a high mage, she finds her challenges have just begun. Her new colleagues are determined to make her feel unwelcome, and instead of a qualified lab assistant, they give her a janitor. What neither Siona nor her peers realise is that her assistant was not always a janitor. 10 years ago, he was a nomadic hunter who lost his family on their perilous journey from the wild plains to the city. But now he sees the opportunity to finally understand the forces that decimated his tribe, drove him from his homeland, and keep the privilege and power. At first, mage and outsider have a fractious relationship, but working together they uncover an ancient secret that could change the course of magic forever if it doesn't kill them first. I adored this book. Me and Abby, Books and Three Cats, are actually talking about rereading this so that we can do an episode of the Overdramatic Book Fanatics on it, because it was just an incredible story and we utterly devoured it and loved it. This is also a book that I would just recommend to everybody. I would say that everybody should read this because it's just beautiful. So yes, I completely agree with this one. Blood Over Brighthaven is an incredible story. And look at that edition from the Broker Binding. Oh, stunning. Another book that was mentioned, which brought me so much joy, was book 2 of the Empire of the Vampire series, which is Empire of the Damned. And also the 3rd book by some ARC winners. So J. Christoph held a competition where some people could win an ARC of his 3rd book, book 3, Empire of the Dawn, which has not been released yet. It's getting released in November. And I had a few people submit that as their answer because they've received an ARC, they won an ARC and read it and loved it. So I had a few people submit Empire of the Damned and a few people submit Empire of the Dawn. Oh, you lucky people, I'm so jealous. So I'm not going to give a summary of Empire of the Damned because it's obviously a sequel, and Empire of the Dawn, I obviously know a little bit, but it's book 3, so it's very, very spoilery. So I'm just going to give a brief overview of Empire of the Vampire as a series. Empire of the Vampire is a story of Gabriel de Leon, the last Silversaint who is imprisoned by vampires and forced to tell his life story to a vampire historian. Set in a world plunged into eternal darkness, Gabriel recounts his journey from childhood to becoming a legendary warrior and his quest to find the Holy Grail and defeat the vampires. That was much more succinct than I could ever say, but I think you all know how much I adore this series, how much I adore this book. So I'm so pleased to see that Empire of the Damned was on the list, and really excited to see that Empire of the Dawn was on the list, because then that gives me so much hope and so much excitement for the release of book 3 in November. Another book that people mentioned as one of their top reads or their favourite read of 2025 so far was The Will of the Many by James Islington. Now, I'm absolutely not surprised to see that this was on the list. I know so many people read and adored this book, and it's become a firm favourite for so many people. Unfortunately, I'm not one of them. I struggled a little bit. I feel like this book for me is a bit like Fight Club. It's like, when we don't, I feel like I'm not allowed to talk about The Will of the Many because I think people just think, no, but you hated that book, Ashley. I didn't hate it. I just had a few issues with it. But I'm still really excited to read The Strength of the Few. I did enjoy it. I just didn't love it. But the summary of The Will of the Many is: Viz, the adopted son of a powerful senator, infiltrates the elite Catalan Academy to investigate a murder and uncover secrets about the oppressive hierarchy regime. He must navigate the Academy's dangerous social and political landscape, mastering the hierarchy's will magic system, a process of siphoning others' life force to gain power and advance. His hidden goal is to dismantle the system that executed his family and enslaved his homeland, all while making friends and confronting the moral complexities of his mission. It's a great sort of concept and story. The execution wasn't perfect for me, but I'm hoping that some of my issues with book 1 are going to be resolved in book 2. But I am I'm not surprised at all that this is a firm favourite for so many people in 2025. And I think it was in 2023 and 2024 as well. So yeah, there's The Will of the Many by James Islington. Okay, so 2 more books got mentioned and they are both from the same series, and that was Morningstar and Lightbringer from the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. I think my partner is using the hose to water flowers outside, so it's like really noisy. If you can hear that, I'm sorry. Okay, so obviously, I think the problem with this is that Morningstar is book 3 in the series, and Lightbringer, I believe, is book 6, and we're still waiting for book 7. But books 1 to 3 are kind of act as like a first trilogy, so you could just read those 3 and you'd be fine. And then I believe books 4, 5, 6, and then 7 will be sort of in the secondary quartet that goes sort of with this. And so obviously if I tell you the summary of Morningstar or Lightbringer, I'm going to spoil the whole series for you. So I will read a summary of Red Rising, but Morningstar from the first trilogy doesn't surprise me at all. It's my favourite of the trilogy, and I've heard from so many people that Lightbringer is incredible. The sort of quartet, so this is Iron Gold, Dark Age, Lightbringer, and then I think it will be Red God is book 4, take place after the events of the first trilogy. I think there is quite a time gap. So yeah, so I don't want to give any spoilers, and I've not read this yet either, but I'll just give a little overall summary of Red Rising. So in Red Rising, Darrow, a miner from the lowest caste red people on Mars, discovers his society is a lie and he seeks revenge for the gold rulers. He undergoes drastic physical and mental transformation to become a gold himself, infiltrating the ruling class to dismantle their tyrannical society from the very top through a dangerous game of power and survival at the legendary Institute. So yeah, that's Red Rising. And again, not surprised to see these. And I think when Red God comes out, I can imagine that will be a favourite for so many people too. I can't wait to read the second era of Red Rising, starting with Iron Gold. And I've seen, if anybody listens to the dramatised sort of audio, the graphic audios, I believe that they've finished recording Iron Gold, and I think they're moving on to Dark Age soon. So if you're like me and you love the graphic audios, I think we're going to be able to catch up soon. So that's really exciting. It was absolutely no surprise to me that a few books by one author were mentioned. Sorry, you can see my partner just guarding in the background. A few books with the same author were mentioned, and that was Ship of Magic and Ship of Destiny. So books 1 and 3 from the Live Ship Traders series by Robin Hobb, and also Fool's Errand, which is book 1, I believe, in the Tawny Man trilogy, which comes after the Live Ship Traders series by Robin Hobb. I would also agree with these two. These were also on my list as well of favourites. So I will give a little summary of the Live Ship Traders series, which is my favourite series of 2025 so far, I've decided. And so it's the Live Ship Trader series follows the Vestrit family, a merchant family in Bingtown whose live ship, the Vivacia, awakens after her patriarch's death, creating financial strife and familial conflict. The series explores themes of slavery, power, identity and trauma as different family members, including the independent Althea, the conflicted Wintro, and as they navigate complex political landscapes and seek to regain control of their lives and their legacy. All this unfolds against a backdrop of a vibrant magical world filled with sentient ships, mysterious river-dwelling cultures and ambitious pirates. That is a perfect summary and far better than I could ever have done. I'm so glad I got to see these books on the list because they would have been on mine too. This is an incredible series. I love it. I'm really glad to see that Fool's Errand was on the list because Fool's Errand is book 7 in the Greater Realm of the Elderling series by Robin Hobb. So it comes after the Live Ship Traders, and I believe it goes back to following Fitz after the Farseer trilogy. So we go back into Fitz's world. So I'm really, it's good for me because I had quite a few issues with Farseer. So I'm really happy to see that this made it to someone's list. I don't think I can give a summary for that one because I think if I tell you a summary of Fool's Errand, it kind of ruins the Farseer trilogy for you. So if I just give you a little summary of the Farseer trilogy, the Farseer trilogy follows Fitzchivalry Farseer, an illegitimate prince, as he is trained as a royal assassin to defend the 6 duchies from the Viking-like raiders and navigate dangerous political intrigue, all while struggling with 2 forms of magic: the hereditary skill and the stigmatized wit, and his complicated family relationships. The story emphasizes character development, introspection, and the complex bonds between humans and animals, exploring themes of duty, loyalty, rejection, and the fight for survival. Again, way better than I could have ever done it. It's a beautiful series, and like I said, I'm so happy to see that Fool's Errand made it onto someone's list, because that gives me a lot of hope for the Tawny Man trilogy. So I'm really excited, because Tawny Man is up for me next in the realm of the Elderlings, which is so exciting. Another book that I'm completely unsurprised made it to this list is The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. Now, I read this earlier this month, and it is an incredible book. I had some difficulties with it, though, I have to say. But I mean, firstly, can we just say, look at that cover? Stunning, absolutely stunning. This is a really interesting tale about a Blackfeet vampire named Goodstab who seeks justice for a massacre that occurred in the early 1900s. The story unfolds through the rediscovered 1912 journal of a Lutheran pastor, Arthur Beauchamp, in which he transcribes his interviews with Goodstab, chronicling the injustices of colonial America and a unique vampire lore rooted in indigenous American history. The novel functions as a powerful, blood-soaked revenge narrative and a chilling exploration of themes like genocide, identity, and the impossible act of escaping history. A perfect summary. It was really spooky, that it was incredibly atmospheric. There were a few elements that didn't work for me, but I really loved the originality and the new sort of idea behind the Cold Bloods. Loved it. That was it. So that side of it was incredible. A few things didn't work for me, but this was very, very, very fun to read and very interesting. And lastly, someone's recommendation was The Way of Edan, which is book 1 in the Edan trilogy by the incredible Dr. Philip Chase. So this is a series that is on my list. I can't wait to read this one. And it says, The Way of Edan follows Dayraven, a young man cursed with the uncontrollable power after an encounter with a terrifying elf, which forces him to leave his home as a holy war. Ermenlond. He must learn to control his new abilities with help from new allies to survive and perhaps decide his kingdom's fate, facing prejudice and danger of a zealous religious order. In this epic and lyrical opening to the Edan trilogy. This I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to be buddy reading this with Abby so that we can do a deep dive into the trilogy over on the Overdramatic Book Fanatics. I'm really excited. I've heard so many good things, and quite a few people recently, I believe Will and also Jake have got Jake from Nerd Level Rising have got this on their top 10 list as well. So I'm so excited for the Edan trilogy, and I know the Brothers Gwyn talk about it a lot too. So it's something I can't wait for. Apparently it brings that homey feeling, that lovely comfort feeling of Lord of the Rings, and just in a very new and fun way. And I just can't wait. Also, Philip Chase is incredible and has an incredible channel. Seems like such a great guy, so I can't wait to dive into this trilogy. So those are some of your favourite reads so far of 2025. Thank you to everybody who submitted some answers. I really appreciate it. So many of these books are just so incredible, and I can't wait to get to so many of these that some people have mentioned. It gives me so much excitement and so much hope for future reads that I've got to come. I hope this video has acted as a really good sort of recommendations video and just a bit of a celebration of just some incredible books that we've been reading so far. 2025 has been a great reading year, guys. I hope it has been for you. It has been for me, and apparently it has for so many other people. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this, and please let me know in the comments below what your favourite read of 2025 has been so far this year. And if you're feeling a little bit cheeky, you can also put your least favourite book of 2025 this year. If you like this video, please do give it a like. I'd be so grateful. It would absolutely make my day, and I would just be beyond grateful. And if you would like to stick around and become a firm member of the Library of a Silversaint, then please do hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you here. Love to have you here as part of the family, fellow Silversaints. Silversaints unite. We love it when the Silversaints unite. But yes, I hope you have a lovely rest of your week. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all again soon.